What was I saying? What was I saying? So yes, I was saying Hey guys, so in this video I'm going to be talking about the dreaded interview stage of applying to dentistry. Now if you're anything like me, the interview stage makes you really nervous and makes you want to cry. So the interview stage comes after you've applied to your universities. I do have a lot to cover, so I'm going to split this video into two parts. The first part is going to include general tips, and I'm just going to talk about what an MMI interview is and what a panel interview is, or a traditional interview. And the second video is going to cover what kind of questions will be asked in interviews. They offer you an interview depending on things like your personal statement, your UKCAT, your predicted grades, and there's two types of interviews that you may be attending depending on the university. So if you check out the link below of the student room, it'll tell you what universities conduct what kind of interviews. So the first kind of interview is a traditional interview, also known as a panel interview. A panel can consist of dentists, doctors, academics, and it's in a pretty formal setting, so you would be facing the panel, maybe just sitting on a chair, or maybe have a table in front of you as well. And it can last up to an hour, but that's quite a long time, so it's not usually that long. And the purpose of it is basically to gauge your personality, find out about your communication and problem solving skills. It can comprise of a lot of different types of questions. So check out my other video, which I'm in the process of editing, so I'll put it up soon, about the types of questions that could be asked. The best way to prepare for a panel interview is just to get help from family and friends. Just get them to sit down and ask you loads of questions and get them to give you some feedback. MMI interviews are very different to panel interviews. I feel like they're a little less daunting, but it depends on what kind of person you are and what scares you. So for an MMI interview, you get an interviewer at each station. You have about 4 to 8 stations that last less than 10 minutes, so you have to really know how to manage your time. And for these interviews, you may be told beforehand what kind of questions or what kind of stations you're going to get, or you might be told on the day. Different stations require different things. Some of them would want you to demonstrate some skills you have. Some of them would want you to talk about your personal statement or your work experience. Some of them might want you to talk about something like current affairs or the NHS. And some of them will present you with ethical scenarios that you need to solve. What you need to do for this one is relearn how to manage your time, as you've only got under 10 minutes at each station to impress the interviewer. At the stations where you're asked to do a task, you should think out loud so that the interviewer gains an insight into your thinking process. If you spend the whole time in silence, they won't really learn much about you, and that won't really impress them. At the end of your mini interview, you should always thank your interviewer, and if you do badly at one station, don't let it affect the next one. Just forget about it and move on. That's the good thing about multiple mini interviews. If you mess up at one station, you can always just move on and start fresh. Same thing with this one, get help from friends and family, set up stations and ask them to ask you questions and do different tasks, and get feedback off them to see how you can improve. General tips I'd give for interviews is don't appear over rehearsed. I mean, they're gonna know you've done some preparation, but if you kind of like recite your answers, they're not really gonna be impressed by that. Expect the unexpected. They can ask you anything, like as much as you prepare, they could just throw something at you and you just need to know how to answer it. If you don't know how to answer something, let them know that you don't know the answer, but you're going to give it a shot anyway. They're going to be more impressed by your honesty than if you try and come up with an answer where you're just rambling on about something you don't know about. And that comes to my next point. Don't talk about things that you don't know about or use words that you don't understand, because you're just going to end up sounding stupid, and like I said, they will see right through you. When you're asked a question that you don't understand, you can ask the interviewer to repeat it, or you can take a moment to gather your thoughts. Don't just blurt out anything that comes into your head. If you pause and just take a moment and come up with a proper answer, that will show a level of maturity. Remember, in most situations the interviewers have read your personal statement, so don't keep referring to it. And also remember that you can't lie on your personal statement, because they can ask you anything that's in your personal statement and you will get caught out. That links to my next point, which is about honesty. Make sure you're honest, because they will most likely see right through you, or even if you're a really good liar, I mean, like, just don't take the risk and just be honest and just relax. I know it's like a really scary moment. I was so nervous, but you don't want to let your nervousness get in the way of you getting a place. I mean, you kind of need to pretend that it's like a role play kind of situation and it's not real life. That really helped me, because I was pretending like I'm a really energetic, really like bubbly person, while inside I was dying. I was so scared. You will be nervous, but just try not to let it come across to your interviewers. Also, dress appropriately. You need to dress as if you have turned up for an interview, which you have. You need to have good body language, so you can't sit with your arms crossed, and try not to wave them around too much, because that can become really distracting as well. Just keep them in one place. If you need to use them a little bit, then you can do, but don't distract your interviewers by like, don't face away from your interviewers, face towards them, maintain eye contact. If one person on the panel asks you a question, address their question by looking at them, but also acknowledge that there are other people there as well. Smile when you enter. You don't have to shake the interviewer's hands, but you can if you want to. Just go with how they lead it. Like one of my interviews that I went to, they kind of just sat there and I said hi, introduced myself, and I didn't really get an opportunity to shake hands. Whereas another interview I went to, as soon as I entered, the person who brought me in introduced me to everyone one by one, so that gave me the opportunity to shake hands with them. So it completely just depends on the situation. Sit up straight, have good posture, and remember that you are going to be judged as soon as you walk into the room. I know it sounds terrible, but that's what this is for. Don't forget that as a dentist, you're going to be meeting new people every day, so when you walk into the room, you need to show them that you're capable of doing that. And so that's it for this video. This was just an overview of what the interview stage is, and look out for my next video that I'm going to be uploading very soon. It's part 2 of this one, so it's just going to be about what kind of questions you may be asked in the interview stage. And as always, if you have any questions, then feel free to email me or feel free to comment below. If you have any tips, then comment below as well. Good luck with your interviews, guys.